Gaeilge Weekly is a Learn Irish Online production. To find out more about LIO, check out the description down below. Hi folks, Malton Wa, Fáilte Rash Chuig an show Fáilte Chuig Gaeilge Weekly. Tadmanis a géisteach le hagran céad is a fé hocht den show agus mar is gnách as usual míle buchas as a bheith ag túnál isteach chuig Gaeilge Weekly. Tá mé arás san ifig tar éis deir seachtainna áite gan eile sa Spáin, so ní ra mé thar lear I wasn't abroad ach bhí mé ag taistil, bhí mé hús I Vigo I dúsceart na Spáine cuid de cheantar Galicia, so a parish or a city in the area or the province of Galicia. Beidir go mbeidh isagah cosúil le mar bhíon gá chundaí is trocha in Éireann, like as there is 32 counties in Ireland, there are 17 provinces or communities they're called here in Spain. In other words, 17 counties. Ocail eile seacht gundaí jeig anseo sa Spáin. A lot of them will probably sound familiar to you. Seans má gnáthníonn sibh neart acu, mar hampla Catalonia. The Basque Country, nó as Gaeilge tír na Moscow. Yes, tá astracán Gaeilge the Basque Country. There's Andalusia sin an áit in bhfuil mé hain I Machoni, Seville, Malaga agus na háitseanna sin I neisceart na tíre. Tá na Highland Canaries, tá na Highland Baleares sin Ibiza, Mallorca, Menorca, tá the Madrid region sin an áit ar nóí óhfuil Madrid, so an chathair a hain sin ceann sin na chundaithe beagnaín cosúil le bailile clia in Éireann, agus an ceann le star simúl maidir le cultúr Éireannach agus star Celtic Beidir níos mó ná Éireanna Celtic history maybe more so than Irish. An ceann is simúla ó thaobh sinne sin Galicia I dúsceart na Spáine nó in iarthúsceart na Spáine chun a bheith beaganín níos críne, to be a bit more precise, in the northwest of Spain. So má tá tú ag féchant léirscáil na Spáine if you're looking at the Spanish map or the map of Spain. Tá tú an feicáil gohfuil píosa beag den Spáin is jutting out or sticking out os cionn na Portingala above Portugal, agus sin an province de Galicia. Na cathaircha atá an sin, well, tá Santiago de Compostela, no Santiago mar a glétar Gominic, as it's often called, just Santiago. Tá sé sin, hús an sin, agus sin an áit a chríochnaíonn an Camino, el Camino de Santiago, sean scoil an Camino Déanta ag cúpla duine ag éisteacht leis an bud chraile seo. Rinne mé hain, písaide, ach níor phric mé Santiago, ní ra plán agam chun sricu Santiago. I never planned to kind of get to Santiago during the Camino. I was always planning to finish in Asturias. Agus sin an chéad chun na eile sa tro sin, that's the next kind of province over that direction before reaching Galicia. There's Vigo, there's Pontevedra, and a few other places, Orense, Covma, Orense as well. Ach hui misha go Vigo, very close to the Portuguese border in South Galicia. So hui misha go Vigo an chongrach le troran na Portingala in neisceart Galicia, agus bhí man sin ag tuairt cuairte chara visiting a friend fad 3 lá agus 3 ihe, 3 days and 3 nights, hús an sin ire an deir seachtain tá díreach tar éis teacht arás inné. Tá a lán buinte Galicia le cultúr Celtic nó níl an star agus an scéal agam rochrain, so I don't have it too exact or too precise in my head, so I don't want to speak too much about the history of it. Mar hampla rodéigen atá rólas agam ná gohfuil a lán chosúlachtaí idir ceol na hÉireann agus ceol Galicia ar nóí maidir leis an talamh agus an tíorchraach hús an sin, tá siad cosúil le céile freisin. Tá sé anna glas fad, tá lampáiste anna. Tír omland tír friúil atá insi I gcompráid le Andalusia agus deisceart na Spáine. So it's a completely different country compared to Andalusia and here in the south of Spain. Agus sin I gcónaí dearm ceann sin a rudaí is fearr faoin Spáin ná éagsúlacht, the variation and the variety you have within Spain. Catalonia is so different from anywhere else in Spain. Galicia is so different again. Andalusia is so different. Few tivas to Andalusia. Even within Andalusia, the west of Andalusia over towards the Portuguese border, so different from places like Almeria on the other side. Áitsnach sul Almeria an tíbhel agus sin ceant in the fáin agus ceant in the cúisina bhfuil mé inrá leis an Spáin agus gúil mé inrá le taistil a dhéanú timpeall na Spáine. Rud ag an eile simúil ó thaobh spórte ná ar nóid tá clubanna chumann Lucas Gaeilge an seo sa Spáin. Bíonn mise ó am go ham ag gimmert leis an foireann an seo is sa bhéal níl mé ag gimmert mór an na léitheanta seo. Ach sa Spáin nó é Iberia, so Iberia sin just an Spáin, an Fort sin Gael, Gibraltar agus Andorra chur le chéile an landmass atá agén an seo. Tá trí srá nó trí cheantar sa friúil sa chumann Lucas Gaeilge an seo. So there's kind of 3 leagues or 3 areas, or it's divided into 3 separate geographical points with the GA here. So tá srá agus Bauer the Wand is kind of one board or department or league for the northeast, so sin Madrid, Zaragoza, Valencia agus Barcelona, agus tá lán éannig ina gcónaí na háitina sin, so bíonn siad sin na gimmert le chéile nó an áige chéile. An sin tá ceann eile an seo sa deisceart agus bíonn Marbella, Malaga, Gibraltar, Lisbon agus Seville ag gimmert sa cheann sin. Agus an ceann eile níl sé an chuid eile de Iberia nó túisceart na Portugal nó aon rud mar sin. An ceantar eile, an srá eile, the other area or the other league is just Galicia. And there's not many Irish living in Galicia. Níl mór an éannig ina gcónaí an sin i Galicia. An chuid mód in na himróí is Spáinigh iad. Dimmer mise in á ceann de na foireanna sin gá bhliain ó shin. Agus an chuid mó dar ar an haon of most of our own team ba éannig muid. Ach, ba bheag nor chailmuid, we almost lost. Even, and I don't want to sound disrespectful here, níl mé géirí ag tá spáins aspa mass an seo nó aon rud mar sin. Ach, we really didn't think we'd be losing to in Gaelic football against a bunch of Spaniards. Níor cheapmuid go méachmuid ag cailint in a grúp of Spáinigh ag gimmert peilghaoileach ag gimmert ar sport náisiúnta ar sport hain. Ach, tá sé anna popular hús an sin agus bíonn lán foireanna de friúil tá sagan bhfuil ceann amháin dar bhrean an brógáin or níomh brógáns, ceann eile Orense agus cúpla ceann eile Estrella Vermelha ceapam beidir hús an sin chomh agus bíonn an chuid mó san foireann bíonn Spáinigh ann agus is Spáinigh iad a bhíonn ag gimmert. So tá Spáin sé sin beagnaíonn den nasc agus an ceangal sa táidir Galicia agus éire. nó beidir níos mó na aon rud eile Galicia agus cultúr Ceilteach. So thuúmann sin ar an Déardaoin for mé an eitilt hús actually beidir gohfuil iontas ag daoine. Maybe people might be surprised go mbíonn mé ag dul ó Seville go Santiago go chathair tíbhas siad gen Spáin ar an eitilteach. Beidir freisin go ndéanann daoine dearmid ar céigh mór is atá an Spáin. Go háirithe ag taistil timpeall na Spáine go minic bíonn eitilt ag tastal leit. Mar shampla Seville go Vigo sa chóir bíonn teart ar 7 nó 8 nóir ar chloig. Is féidir leat bus áil ach tá sé sin fiú níos fuide mar bíonn sé ag déanú a lán stadanna ar ri an thuiris. It makes a lot of stops during the trip. And is bíonn sé thart ar 2 or 10 nó 3 or 10 chun sricu ar Vigo. An sin tá tú an train áil a caithfidh tú ceangailt traine, a train connection or a train link áil in Madrid. So 2 nó 3 hours sa train in Madrid. An sin fanan tú in Madrid nó beidir go nathraíonn tú stáisiún ní change station ar feadh uair nó chó agus an sin leanann tú rá 5 nó 6 uair eile sa train go Vigo. Agus bíonn sé an chustasach chun taistil le tréanacha is sa Spáin. Diganá gohairí ha man táú ar na high-speed trains na Aves mar glítar orthú an seo, beidir Seol go Madrid chus níonn sé 60 nó 70 euro orintanta, beidir orintanta níos mó breathann sé ar an am ó bhfuil tú ag dul. It depends on the time you're going and how far in advance and all. The other normal boring stuff na rudaí le dránacha na gná rudaí le dránacha eile. So I flew up is much easier, 1 hour or chléig agus margheall gur domestic travel atá agus taistil tíbhaiste den Spáin ní chaithí passport control a dhéanamh mar hampla ar an Déardaoin fórmaid an etils agus beidir 5 nóiméad tar éis tíomhamuid den etils agus ag siúil ar an airgate nó cad cintanam atá ar an corridor sin a bhí acu air corridor idir an etils agus an Creekfort between the plane and the terminal. 5 minutes after walking through that, bhí mé ar an mus hána féin ag dul isteach go Santiago agus airfort an bheag atá ann hús an sin is Santiago de Compostela. Cóhma. So bhí mé isteach Santiago, form an train of Santiago go Vigo agus bhí mé ná machara eáil an sin. Agus cai mé rá gur 3 lá gen sco agam my 3 brilliant days. And for a lot of reasons, but I think one of the big ones, Ciant and Keen, is mo na kick of more hatton Galicia lum. How much I really liked Galicia. It's very easy and very throwaway cliche line for me, just on raw. Oh, well, vi sé gosúil le héireann. Agus, listen, ní rá sé gosúil le héireann bhí daoine ag labhairt a Spáinis bhí an bia go hiomlán difriúil, bhí an cultúr go hiomlán difriúil. Actually, dearhan, nach bhacha mé mór an rudaí a bhí anna éireannach agus ní raibh éireann ag timpeall na háite ar churbe nó aon rud mar sin. I don't want to give this impression. It's such an easy throwaway line. Oh, it's like a little Ireland. No, it's a national ar churbe. Níl mór an rudaí éireannacha le feiceáil an sin ar churbe. Ach, bhí beag an aon den, feeling more at home, margheall go raibh mé an áit a raibh ó bhád níos mó buinteach leis an tíorchraach. So being in a place that was a lot more connected or associated with the landscape and with nature, le náidir, compared to Seol, which is very much based around the city and it's just in this flat plain of kind of nothingness in Andalusia. Doesn't so in áit anna chorrum gan tada congrach dún and seo is Seol, and everything's based around the city itself, and even the parks in the city, few na porknas chahar. They're kind of man-made, designed parks as opposed to in Ireland or in Galicia, áitina in bhfuil an pork just an náidir. The park is just nature and stuff that hasn't been touched or hasn't been changed throughout hundreds, if not thousands of years. Ruddy, no áitina nach bhfuil aithrithe leis na céadta blianta anús. So bhain mé tanna sin bhí mé Vigo an chuid is mó den deir seachtainna an difriúil ó Seol, gan dát an difriúil ó Seol. In an land slítsa difriúil, just caithear yes atá in sí nice city. It's not got any huge redeeming features, just gná chathair atá in sí. Tá sé an chungrach le trán na Gaeilge, agus tá sé sin le feiceáil I gúpla bailach difriúil tá bia an difriúil an sin I gcompráid le Seol, tá bhád níos mó seafood agus bia mara acu hús an sin ach rud amháin eile ná an teanga. Firstly, with Spanish itself, leis an Spanish I hain la richer Spanish soch difriúil. They speak quite different Spanish, quite clearer, a lot more standard Spanish up there. Being on Spanish a bhád níos standard nó cosú leis an caid an ofagiúil atá acu agus tá sé bhád níos éasca le tuiscint, bíonn sé níos tapúla agus bíonn siad ag fágal amach a lá litricha híos an seo in Andalusia. They leave out a lot of letters and so on down here in Andalusia. So hús an sin bíonn sé níos soléire agus níos éasca le tuiscint agus níos cosú le gná Spanish German ach níos samúla ná sin ná gomininic ní cloistear Spanish hús an sin nó ní hé an Spanish atá le cloistáil ag an gcuid is mó chugainn ach teanga eile dar bhanam Gallego or Gallego. Mar a der hí siad freisin as Spanish. So Gallego is the word for it in Spanish, and then Gallego, I think, in Gallego, in the language itself. Teanga difriúil the town, it's Zangahin, it's its own language, and it's based roughly, it's kind of a mix of Spanish and Portuguese. Mascon lids on Fortune Gaeilge and Spanish. Now, again, that's an easy throwaway line and simplifying an entire language. Ach just on size smuinu generalta a hortjív, size mascon idger on Spanish agus on Fortune Gaeilge atá insi. Agus mis ag dul idir Airfort Santiago agus Vigo an Déardaoin, bhí mé an train. Stop on trainer for a Tamil V5 an lína capan, there's a problem on the line. Agus hussí mé ag labhairt leis an man in Acolum, so I started speaking to the woman beside me. Agus bhí me ag labhairt buganín faoi, cén fá around me Galicia agus Baas Galicia an van sin. That woman herself is from Galicia. Galicia hasn't got much tourism, especially this time of year. Níl mór an thosaitheoirt ag Galicia gohoirithe ag an tamseo in Bhliain, and especially outside Santiago and outside of the Camino route, tíomh mu an route non slí atá acu don Camino. So must stop an tú agus le rion tú le duine seans ma gur as Galicia iad. Bíonn nach cinse go mbeidh siad, it's almost sure that they will be. So hosí muid ag labhairt le céile agus dúirt si beidir níl mór an Gallego le clustáil in áit cosú le Vigo. There might not be too much Gallego to be heard in Vigo agus Santiago. Tá sé mar antanga is láidre, nó tá sé óhád níos láidre hús an sin I dúsgart Galicia up in the north of Galicia. It's a lot more spoken. We're not talking about language that's spoken in a few towns in the hills. I think about 50% of people up there have it as a first language. Hartar la genedini hús san sin tá Gallego acu mar an chéad theanga. Agus cluster ó bhád níos mó faoi Bascais agus faoi Catalónis. You hear a lot more about Basque and Catalan mar tá siad ceangailte le independence movements agus glúiseachtaí chun neamhspleáchas a bhaint amach. Ach le Galicia beidir go raibh cúpla independence movements hús an sin le haid Galicia. Ní raibh siad có láidir nó có mór ar churbe mar a bhí na cína Catalunya agus tír na Moscow as the ones over in Catalonia and the Basque country were, and of course still are, but to a lesser extent tá siad fósach ní ar an level céanna nó gotí an pointe céanna mar a bhí siad. So that was something I'd never thought of agus mise I machónaí le 2 bliain aniu sa gcónaí thula mé faoi Gallego. I'd always heard about Gallego, the language, but I'd never really actually heard it or thought about, okay, how is it actually used or where it's used in Galicia. So bhí sé sin simul. Níor thula mé mór an mar dúirt mé I Vigo ní le riatsar a lán Gallego ach hús an sin is Santiago agus by me actually ras an sin I gceann cúpla seachtain agus by me is Santiago agus ag cathú cúpla lá an sin. I'll be back in a few weeks time and I'll be up in Santiago for a few days, which I'm looking for le cúnaé by me ná níos móide sin chlustálaach. Cosú leis an Gaeilge in éireann bhí sé le feicáil gach. It was to be seen and visible everywhere, just like Irish in Ireland, even if I didn't hear it as much for Irish few monará sé clustágam mór an na hásanna ará me hain. And speaking about Gallego and languages, just going to take a small little break for 30 seconds just to say if you're learning Irish, which I presume most people listening to this version of the podcast are, and you're looking for more materials or more stuff that can help you improve, stuff like comprehension and writing and how to speak more and grammar and so on, don't forget to have a look and try out the free trial as a Learn Irish Online member over on Patreon. Over there, you get access to way more shows apart from Gaeilge Weekly, such as Eisteasóid, Léirísh, Egastrú, Smuinty Sarhan, Button Go, gaming videos with Irish commentary, loads and loads of stuff that can help you improve your Irish. You also get access to episodes of Gaeilge Weekly that you don't over here on the main feed. You get a monthly bonus episode, early access to those. You get a PDF with all the toughest and trickiest words that I say in every episode. So if any of that interests you, head over to patreon.com/Learn Irish Online and sign up for a free trial today. So, ag tuchtras chuig Galicia, bhfuil mé suirtaithnamh as mo chuideama an sin an sathern huimúid go baile in ará fiestas siúil, that there was kind of parties, or I suppose parties isn't the word in English, or few as Gaeilge. but kind of a month-long festival that'll be going on. Like maybe you'd have the Oyster Festival back at home, or even the Arts Festival in Galway. Rud éigean mar sin bína lan imeachtaí Seol ri na mísa. And in this case, it was during the month of January. So we got lucky. We saw it in a small little town up there in moille soch beag who san sin Déardaoin an bimbrive ceapam fiestas de San Blas sin an tanam a bhí an gcóisir nó an féist an féile seo. The name of this kind of festival or party was Fiestas de San Blas. Agus bhí sé gcéintach bhí an ceol le chlustal timpeall na háite, timpeall an bhaile, agus bhí nimime an rá go raibh an ceol cosúla ceol éireannach, ach bhí cosúlachtaí gan dabhas, ach níos mó ná aon rud eile, bhí sé anchosúil le ceol na halbanna. Very similar to Scottish music. Bhí bagpipes an sin, agus an píomhála le clustal. Actually, bhí me ag parking fad tamil mar bhí an cór agin agus tar éis tamil tháinig muid chór close. We found a car park agus bhí me ag borchal, agus bhí me dúr chun an chór close seo a ágáil agus go tobann, actually, like winnu gets beag as and kind of gave us a bit of a fright. Hulamage bagpipes agus and our noi being the bagpipes and píomhála anna or their fad very loud and kind of high pitched sometimes. It gave us a bit of a fright, and we saw it was the guy in the car only 2 or 3 over from us in Gore on the chungrach doing bhí sé déanú or no brunú tríal as the bagpipes on Ginu Kinchik Garau she the Gulpergs Garau air is shit onto, and that they had air inside them and all the rest of it, because he was going down to the town to play. And we saw a lot of other people playing bagpipes agus orla sheets ar froula agus an bia ó wad níos mó fiol, a lot of meat as well. We would just because we should be like so the beer garden more agus fish the Jane of fiols or frool agus ishbini agus Jane and she the land octopus on sin govmano squid pulpo a la Gaeilge tá sé sin an cholo níomháin I Galicia ach timpeall na Spáine ach Galicia sin an áit óil clú agus call an pláta nó an bia sin pulpo octopus or squid, I guess, in English. So bhí sé gcéintach chun an fear Galicia, piece of beag sin fear Galicia a eáil ornta bín méid dul go áit agus bín tú ag fannacht sa chathair an dearra seachtain ar fad agus ag déanú cúpla de na touristy things timpeall na háit agus ní bhíon seans agat really aonsáis fear hathaí a bheith agat ar an áit I hain. You don't get a real experience of the place itself or the people or the food and all the rest of it, mar tá tú is just a chathair agus tá sé níos idirnáisiúnta ach tá sé go deas an dul áite and mar sin níos mó a muo faoin tú. And even in Galicia, when you're in the cities, fiú nuair atá tú sna chathaircha hús an sin mohíonn tú gúil tú a muo faoin tú, a bit like in Ireland. Even when you're in Galway or Cork, you don't feel like you're in a city, you feel like you're in the countryside. Mohíonn tú gúil tú a muo faoin tú up until a certain point go pointsa Oria. So I must say I really, really enjoyed it. A lot of differences lunch the another one I found was, and this was the one I didn't like as much, nor hadn't cumhpháirtíocht, was that in Seol an seo in Níosceart na Spáine tá sé éasca just chun stop again caffeine nó teachtarmhna nó bar dolas teach agus caffé a bheith agat agus fiú tar éis tamil a bheith I do chónaí an seo ní chaithí tú ceist a chur an freastalí cén bia atá agat. You don't even have to ask the waiter or the barman after a while what type of food you have, because they all have the same menus and it's all simple stuff but done really well, really simply ach déanta gcéintach. Patatas bravas, croquetas, salmorejo, carriada, na rudí de furla dá acu ach tá ag gach teachtarmhaine. So really simply ach small portions, tapas, agus éasca le ordú, le a cafe, and really easy, really simple, fairly cheap, agus tá sé gcéintach. Ach rud amháin nóir hatanlumm I Galicia, bhí sé níos cosúil le éireann ar chlí gur gach bíaláin nó gach teachtarmhaine bhí níos acu. Agus bhí sé sin simúil agus bhí sé cool le feiceáil, ach bhí sé an dheacair just an gnáthbhricfásta at all. It was very tough just to get a normal breakfast. We brunch ag gach nó an menu seo nó tá muide ag déanú pancakes nó tá muide ag déanú an rud idirnáisiúnta seo, this international thing, or we do these crepes with Nutella in the morning. Bhí sé an-deachar agus ceapan go léireann nó na carracha ar aon san éireann an chosúil le sin na léitheanta seo freisin. Tá sé deachar chun just gná béile aáil to get a normal meal. Sé tú isteach agus bín gachar ar an menu, bín sé go jazz, bín an bí blasta in éireann agus freisin ag an dearra seachtainna I Vigo hí an rud céanna bhí an bí an a blasta. The food was really, really delicious and tasty and everything else. Agus bhí an portion an a war, bhí tú línta, you were filled up nuair a dog tú an bíán. So ní mar aon aib ó a hibh singe, ach just orintanta this mean of I just like to get a few things of toast and a small bit of oil on top, a bit of ham, agus sinné in áit. Okay, it's this type of bread and sourdough and gourmet, agus buzzwords, craft, this, do you want to add this? Have you been here before? Do you know how our menus work? Agus orintanta just tá sé rúch hasta agus sure. Well, I sound like an owl lad now, and they'll come Eric Sula Shannar agamanis. Ach, like orintanta this when just rodní simplí bheith sé go jazz agus gandá sin tífricht an a war a thug mé fao deara bhí níos nó specialisation nó trend ag beag nach gach teachtormhain nó bíán a tháinig mise hús an sin. And for a fairly national city, not international, is the way I mean that. Now, I'd say gan le, ní chluiste mBéarla ar aon áit really a Vigo. You don't hear English anywhere in Vigo. It's very little tourism up there, especially this time of year. Goria an Tom Shudge and Bleen. Bhí intas arm faoi sin. Bhí mis sé ceapú gach áit sa Spáin nach bhfuil mór an thosaitheoicht nach make áit sin agsúla sin acu ach bhí. And they weren't touristy places at all, but just even for locals. But anyway, different place in Spain, all saying different to Spawn, different culture, completely culture different, tríd is tríd. And I have to say I really, really enjoyed my few days there for my sore tathnamh as mo chuid jam an sin. As I've said before in the podcast, mar luí mé riva an bud chréile, mo tá mise ag taistil tíomhiste jan Spáin. Níl sim agam dul go Valencia, níl sim agam dul go Málaga, na carracha mhóra seo le níos mó thosaitheocht. Is fearlam dul go Cáceres ar fear gá lá. Is fearlam dul go Córdoba ar fear láháin. Is fearlam dul go León ar fear cúpla lá. Is fearlam dul go Tír na Máscach agus Bilbao hús an sin ar fear lán ó go. Agus náitina níos lú, not even smaller places, but places a bit more hidden. Áitina bucaní níos mó faoi cheilt agus áitina nachhfuil ahraithe mór an le trocha carracha chuige blin anús people or places that haven't changed too much over the last 30, 40, 50 years. Is even é sin agus an fear Spáin egal agus arnói fechan tú few level níos ords it's in fear Spáin. You see even another level of the real Spain when you go to the pueblos agus the towns agus na bailí. And that's nothing against people who go to holidays to Marbella or Alicante or wherever. Sin Cearclór, if you're into it, great. But the simad is in fearfa. Ac níl sim agamsa is in. So tá mé wad ní sásta ag dul timpeall gáitsna cosú le Galicia agus tá mé ag tnú go mór hana féin le fiú ar Galicia ag an cúpla seachtain arís. So ag tnú go mór le sin. Sin é, ní cheapan ghfuil mór an eile le fálagus, má tá intana níl mise ar an Santiago nó an Galicia Tourism Board, ach má tá intana ag éisteach le seo agus ag smaoine, bheith sé anna cool chun dul go Galicia nó túisceart na Spáine. Tá sé anna éasca óireann, tá eitilte ó bhaile go clia, eitilte ó churcaig, agus gá óir san Eitleán, tá tú an sin, tá an Lóistín soch sír le haéannig, accommodations fairly cheap for Irish people anyways. Maybe not as much for locals. Again, we love going to these different countries as even in dul go Gina cheer your friúil show and say, it's very cheap, it's very cheap. Well, it's not just cheap for locals because the wage is so much lower. But story from the day scale le ha lá eile ach le ha éarnig. Tá sé soch sír le ha Lóistín nó choráil ar híos to get a car on hire for a week and to head around, and I'd highly recommend it around Galicia, Asturias, León, Castilla-León, Tá lán áit an sin fiú túisceart na ports in Gaeilge, the north of Portugal. You can go across the border easily go éasca agus fecinn tú taobh. Omláns ar friúil den Fortingale I gcompráid leis an deisceart, I gcompráid leis an Algarve agus Faro agus na háiteanna an sin. So, Bulhin, go more. I'd really, really recommend it if you want to go to Spain, but stay away from the typical spots. Má tú I géirí dulgadí an Spáin ach na háiteanna agus na spots typicúla a cheachans. Sin guys, míle buchas as a bheith ag éisteach leis an seo tá súil agam gur bhainseamh taitneamh agus gur bhainseamh tarbha as éisteach beaganí faoi mathras go dtí Galicia ag an tíre seachtainna agus ba maras an seachtain sugan ag láirt písa beag faoi rud ag an eile atá tar éis tarlúdum san rud ag an eile ó bhfuil sim agam ann. Míle buchas as a bheith ag éisteacht le ruair an seachtain sugan sláán agus beannacht.